That's right. See you, people. Thank you.
New South Wales lashed by a powerful east coast low. Tonight a flood emergency is unfolding. Hundreds of homes without power with more heavy rain on the way. The hunt for a suspected predator in Penrith after a 2-year-old went missing from a play centre. Victoria's grim record gets worse, aged care homes in crisis and the truth behind the mask rage. Protesters banned again, but they plan to march anyway. As Sydney's coronavirus clusters grow, more restaurants shut, fears hospital staff are now at risk. Dramatic pictures, the rooftop raid you weren't supposed to see. Derailed in the city, Sydney's first significant light rail crash. And the NRL slams claims it's bending the rules to help the Roosters sign Sonny Bill Williams.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Fergsuon.
Good evening. We're being warned we should expect even more rain as a punishing weekend weather system persists. Tonight there's a flood emergency at Sanctuary Point, south of Sydney, where properties are being inundated. Damage from the drenching stretches from Newcastle all the way to the south coast.
Sanctuary Point near Jervis Bay today, offering no sanctuary from the second east coast low in 2 weeks. The main road in is cut off, rivers and creeks bursting their banks. Homes flooded, 8,000 residents without power. Several cars swamped, drivers had to be rescued.
No one was injured, just water damage through his car.
The area is copping a lashing as the system slowly moves southeast, a monster that's brought up to 200 mils of rain and winds gusting to 90 kilometres an hour.
Certainly strong enough to down trees and power lines.
The south coast on alert for gales and flash flooding tonight and into tomorrow. At Neligan on the swollen Clyde River near Bateman's Bay, this houseboat sank at its mooring. Similar warnings in force for the central coast, especially at Wombrel, where homes are being undercut by huge waves. Owner Margaret Bryce can only watch and wait.
It's been sleepless for the last 11 nights.
She, along with 17 neighbours, are praying their homes are still standing when it's all over. Hers is on concrete piers and has some protective rocks.
But I have neighbours texting me now, running to their houses, watching more of their yards slipping into the ocean.
The next 12 hours will be critical. The next high tide is at 2 a.m, the swell even bigger. Surf off Sydney was rated large, powerful, hazardous. A warning issued to swimmers, surfers and fishermen. But that didn't deter board riders who were towed into some bombs at South Narrabeen, catching some epic rides and some spectacular wipeouts. The swell measured up to 8 metres off Sydney Heads. A bruising for some, but few reports of actual damage, apart from water leaks from wind-driven rain. Like these home extensions at Glenwood in Sydney's northwest.
The weather conditions have created some risks for our community, particularly in relation to damaged roofs.
Damaged roads too. This was Pitttown Road at McGrath's Hill near Windsor. And at Wombrel, a plea for government aid.
It's just got to happen very, very urgently.
And Peter Fegan joins me now from Wombrel. Peter, that big surf and a high tide this afternoon, how are those homes holding up?
Well, Mark, they are still standing for now, but it will likely be early morning until residents can return home and assess any new damage. Now, as we heard, the next high tide is due at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, and the swell will be bigger. As we go to air this evening, Mark, waves are being measured off the coast of Bateman's Bay at 12 metres. Now, if those homes do survive the next onslaught for residents, some relief is on the way as the sun rises. The storm should ease, giving all residents some respite. Mark?
Peter Fegan, thank you. Several homes and businesses in Newcastle have been left with huge damage bills after the heavy rain caused flash flooding. In just 24 hours, 152 millimetres was dumped in some suburbs, catching many residents off guard. There were several rescues as well as drivers were left stranded.
Surrounded by a surge of water, Lambton residents are trapped in their homes.
Well, I don't think there's anybody home.
But Anne Sturt and a young family next door were.
It came in a huge rush over about 2 minutes and I could feel the water coming up under my feet.
All 4 were rescued, but their homes left a mess.
The damage is everything. It's been through about maybe 15 centimetres through the house, so everything is ruined that was up to that level.
At Newcastle University, a bus driver took a dangerous gamble.
It just drove through, thinking he could get through, and he wasn't able to.
The driver and 8 passengers were loaded onto inflatable boats and ferried to safety.
They are extremely dangerous for both my volunteers as well as the community.
SES crews kept busy, 4 other drivers needing help after becoming trapped by fast-moving currents. Suburban streets swallowed.
Oh, wow. Just a surge of water.
The Mayfield Hotel today drying out after getting hammered. The underground car park at Westfield Katara underwater. Businesses across the city closed to clean up.
Oh, ferocious. All the rivers started banking up and flowing over.
In just 24 hours, parts of Newcastle copped 152 millimetres of rain and wind gusts reached 61 kilometres per hour. While it's still raining here today, conditions have eased significantly, but more rain is on the way.
And winds are now the worry.
Because we've now got the soaked ground, we get the winds blow the trees over.
Natasha Squarey, 7 News.
5 people have been injured, one badly after 2 buses collided at the corner of Anzac Parade and High Street in Kensington just after 4 this afternoon. About 10 people were on each bus. The casualties include a 25-year-old woman with serious head injuries. The crash blocked Anzac Parade southbound while light rail services were suspended in both directions. And a tram has derailed after being hit by a truck in lunchtime traffic on George Street in the city. No one was injured when the truck's tray smashed a window and damaged 2 carriages. Trams were stopped between Circular Quay and Town Hall.
I was just turning the corner and it's just clipped the back of my tray. I didn't mean to do it.
On board the light rail there was the driver and a single passenger. No person was injured. Alcohol is certainly not a factor in the collision.
Specialist lifting equipment has been brought in to right the tram. Police fear a 2-year-old girl is the victim of a shocking sexual assault in a play centre in Western Sydney. The toddler was found injured in a storeroom. She was taken to hospital, with police now searching through security vision.
It's supposed to be a place of happiness, but instead, Lollipop's Playland and Cafe is now a crime scene. At lunchtime yesterday, the toddler disappeared, later found distressed in a storeroom by another child. That child alerted the girl's mother, who'd been searching frantically for her missing daughter.
The injuries are sufficient for us to be very concerned.
Just what happened in the 20 minutes the 2-year-old was missing is under investigation by Child Abuse Squad detectives. They're working through security vision from inside the Penrith Centre, but at this stage, they don't know who is responsible.
Due to the tender age of the child, what we now know, we've got to keep a very open mind and treat this as its worst.
Today, the play centre was closed as detectives bagged evidence.
It is quite nerve-wracking to know that it could happen, and it could happen to your own kids.
Centre management says it's cooperating fully with the police investigation. Our thoughts and concerns are with everybody involved in this incident, especially the family. Its staff have been ruled out as suspects. Detectives are working their way meticulously through the centre's COVID register. Everybody who came here yesterday had to leave their name and contact details in case of an outbreak. It's this list that could be key. And they need the public's help to put the rest of the pieces together. Laura Banks, 7 News.
Organisers of tomorrow's Black Lives Matter protest have vowed to push on despite losing a last-ditch appeal in the Supreme Court to have the rally declared legal. The lunchtime event will shift to the Domain to avoid congestion around Town Hall, but it looks as though protesters are heading for a showdown with police.
After a 2-hour hearing and even swifter decision, the protest ruled an unauthorised event, but they're determined to go on regardless.
We are calling on the police. Do not harass us when we gather. Do not fine us. Do not arrest us.
The position condemned.
I'd describe it as breaking the law. That's what I'd describe it as, and that's what it is.
A pandemic isn't the time to do this. Pick a different way.
Proving her point, today more familiar scenes of businesses impacted. The Town Viet Noodle House in Cabramatta closed for deep cleaning alongside Arn Restaurant Bankstown as they revealed another 17 COVID cases today, 3 more at the Thai Rock Wetherill Park and a second now at its sister restaurant at Potts Point. It's now undergoing industrial cleaning just as the first restaurant did, with confirmation that not only a diner but also a staff member have tested positive. No source yet identified.
Until I've got all the genomics before me, until we've completed our investigation, it's too early to speculate.
The diner tested positive on July 17 and the staff members positive apparently followed that. The Thai Rock restaurant owners weren't returning calls today, but they've been assuring customers online that none of their staff ever travel between the two venues. Late today, another popular Potts Point restaurant was also forced to close its doors, the Apollo, just blocks from the Thai Rock. Further south, another school joined the COVID list, George's River Grammar, a student testing positive after attending the St Brennan's Church Cathedrals, one of 4 new cases, taking that cluster to 9.
The school's closed for cleaning and there are 18 students and 4 staff identified as close contacts of the child and will be isolating for 14 days.
With concerns over the Our Lady of Lebanon Church, Harris Park, and a new case of unknown source in Middleton Grange, authorities imploring residents there to get tested.
Weather is a little bit challenging outside, but please do not let that deter you.
Yet despite numbers staying mostly stable statewide, Queensland was again making threats as over 1 million border permits have now been issued.
We will not hesitate, if it gets out of control, to slam the border shut.
And with evidence in Victoria of people failing to test or self-isolate fearing the impact on jobs or earnings, the opposition wants to give $300 payments to help workers stay home.
To ensure those, particularly in casualised jobs, don't worry about missing a shift when they should be staying at home to get their results.
The scheme aimed especially at casual staff.
And Chris Reason joins me once again. Chris, no doubt police will be out in force for that rally tomorrow.
Yeah, good evening, Mark. That's exactly what the Police Minister David Elliott is indicating today. That despite this thing being declared a prohibited assembly, still 1,400 people have expressed an interest in going down to the Domain from midday tomorrow to take part. The organisers insist, though, Mark, it will be COVID safe and they will maintain their social distancing. They're aware that each of them faces a $1,000 fine. And in a separate development, Mark, it's been revealed that among the group of diners impacted at the Thai Rock restaurant Potts Point outbreak is a group of some 18 pharmacists and their colleagues from St Vincent's Hospital. A worst case scenario for that facility. They've all been tested and they're now waiting for the results. Mark.
That is a real worry. Chris Reason, thank you. The crisis is only deepening in Victoria with 532 new cases reported today. Another 6 people have died, 5 of the victims in aged care. And proof that no one is immune, a baby has tested positive in a new cluster at Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital.
Rarely are so many captivated by mathematics, but every morning, numbers are what Victorians care about most.
There are 8,696 coronavirus cases in Victoria. That's 532 new.
Including a baby and 3 others inside the neonatal intensive care unit at Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital. 532 is not just another record, it is 10% higher than the previous record, despite lockdown, despite face masks, and most of the numbers are going the wrong way.
There are 245 Victorians in hospital and 44 of those are receiving intensive care. 4,542 total active cases, 683 active cases connected in some way to aged care, 400 health workers who are active cases.
6 died overnight, 5 from nursing homes.
We know, with the number of new infections that we have seen today, that there will be many further deaths in the days ahead.
Epping Gardens has spiked from 1 COVID case a week ago to more than 70. Sam Agnello's elderly mother is among them.
She says, no matter how many times I call the button, nobody comes.
It's really distressing for everybody. Sorry.
Victoria's government is subsidising those who can't afford not to work, with one important message.
You can't go to work if you feel sick even mildly.
There are no immediate plans for the southwestern country town of Colac to become Victoria's 3rd region to lock down, despite 47 cases there linked to an abattoir.
I've been here 77 years and
I haven't seen it this bad.
Computer modelling suggests today could be the peak. The experts hope those numbers do add up. Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Prime Minister Morrison says he's determined to keep Australia on a path out of the economic crisis. He's directed his COVID Commission to identify much-needed job opportunities, appointing 6 new members, including a former Labor power broker.
He marshalled the union numbers to blast Kevin Rudd from the Prime Ministership, one of Labor's faceless men.
We think that Julia Gillard is the best option to lead Labor to victory.
Now, a new face on Scott Morrison's COVID Commission.
I've known Paul for many years.
But Mr Howes, now a partner of professional services giant KPMG and the Liberal Prime Minister, haven't always seen eye to eye.
We certainly haven't always agreed on everything, as he and I can attest to. But what this is about is getting people to work together.
The COVID Commission, formed to advise the government on its pandemic response, refocusing now on the path out, with 6 new appointments, experts on small, medium and large businesses looking at ways to get hundreds of thousands back to work.
To create as many new jobs as we can, as well as restoring old ones.
The government had aimed to have 850,000 people back in work this month. The outcome, just 210,000. The COVID Commission will have its work cut out for it and will do it in secret. Its advice now deemed Cabinet in confidence, leaving many questions.
What jobs will be made? What jobs will be saved? What money's being spent? There's no accountability, no transparency.
Another reason Labor says the Parliament should be recalled in a COVID-safe way. Mark Riley, 7 News.
And there are new incentives for first home buyers in a push to boost the economy badly hit by COVID. Stamp duty is being slashed in the hope it will boost new jobs in one of our worst hit industries.
A damp day on Sydney building sites for an industry suffering from the effects of COVID, cutting employment.
Absolutely, we're getting people coming in through the doors asking for work where it never used to happen.
Work well underway at the Siding in Petersham. 357 new apartments, many priced for first home buyers.
We've got about 2,800 apartments that will be eligible for this program.
The state government plans to slash its tax on first home buyers. From August, there'll be no stamp duty on new first-time buyer homes up to $800,000, a saving of $32,000. There'll be less stamp duty on homes of up to $1 million. On a $900,000 home, that's a $15,000 saving. Up till now, only homes up to $650,000 escaped stamp duty.
It really does bring into play the average new home across Sydney.
And we want to get as many young families into the housing market as possible.
Still plenty of cranes in the Sydney skyline, but with the impact of COVID, by far the largest number of applications for help from JobKeeper have come from the construction industry. The stamp duty relief will cost the state budget $78 million.
This is all about building homes and creating jobs.
But it's only a temporary fix, available for 12 months. Chris Marr, 7.
Hollywood has lost one of its original leading ladies, veteran actress Olivia de Havilland, who has passed away at the age of 104. A natural on screen, the last surviving Gone with the Wind star also took on the studios, changing actors' rights along the way.
Here's Scarlett.
In Hollywood's golden era, Olivia de Havilland was one of the brightest stars. Already on the rise when Gone with the Wind was released, after her role as the calm, sweet Melanie Wilkes, she was famous.
Oh, Scarlett, you have so much life. I've always admired you so. I wish I could be more like you.
She would go on to win 2 Best Actress Oscars for her powerful performances in To Each His Own.
You don't think I'm going to leave him there, do you?
And The Heiress.
Is that the song?
A force on screen, she was fierce behind the scenes, taking on the studio system that penalised actors for rejecting roles. The landmark legal victory, still known as the de Havilland Law.
No actor ever took a suspension. It was such a frightening thing to do.
She shot 49 films over 6 decades, a career that enticed honours from the President and the Queen. Her personal life just as dramatic. A legendary rivalry with her younger sister and fellow actress Joan Fontaine became a bitter public feud.
It's about struggle and it's about survival, and those are themes familiar to everyone.
In the late 50s, she moved to Paris and called it home until last night, when she died peacefully in her sleep. Olivia de Havilland was 104. In Hollywood, Amelia Brace, 7 News.
Time now for a check on our weather. Here's Brownie.
Thanks very much, Fergo. Well, it's raining in the Sydney Basin as we go to air, but the heaviest rain has now shifted south. In fact, a flood warning is out for the state's southern coastal rivers. Right now in our town, it's sitting on 13 degrees, but the strongest winds, they've passed. In fact, today they were confined to the coastal areas. You'll notice Bellambi clocked 91 kilometres per hour. 70 k's was reported at the airport. A lot less in Penrith. Maximum wind gust of 50 kilometres per hour today. Our weather camera network captured this big messy wave just rolling up onto Bondi Beach during high tide. Now the big waves are expected to continue for another 24 hours. But having said that, the showers should become less frequent and gradually clear tomorrow as the south to southwesterly wind moderates. At the moment, well, temperature-wise, it feels like 9 degrees at Bondi. Not so cold in Penrith, where the feels-like temperature at the moment is 11 degrees. Of course, local forecasts in detail, top of the hour, Fergo.
Plenty happening, Brownie. Thank you. Brotherly love may be turning bitter in the royal family as the Megxit row rages on. Next, have Harry and William cut ties. Plus, 2 women sentenced over this toilet paper brawl, how they're being punished. Later, tough tactics. Extraordinary new video gives an insight into prison life. Baboons on the loose, how they managed to be armed with knives and screwdrivers. And in sport, a boost for the Bunnies as they look to hang on to one of the game's brightest young talents.
7 News brought to you by Optus.
So in the kitchen there can be a massive loop.
You always remember your first date.
People will talk about the stars aligning and a few sparks flying at the moment.
He's found the one. Or has he?
We're here. I feel at home already. I've sort of already marked my territory.
Tonight, 7:30, one girl will go home.
Who have you chosen?
New Farmer Wants a Wife. Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
Sam is fearless at studying tiger sharks. Just don't ask him to fix a leaking tap. It's amazing what you can't do. Task smarter.
Airtasker.
In a world full of flavour, don't let your denture leave you with bad breath. Try new Polydent Cleansing Wipes, our quickest and easiest way to refresh your denture for that super fresh feeling, at home or out and about.
Hester is a super fund that supports people whose work helps others. Their stories inspire us to give them a stronger financial future and a better world to retire into. It's our way of saying thank you.
Here at Set for Life, our Division 1 winners don't just win once. They win 20k every month for 20 years. Set for Life, it's 20k on replay.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Right now at Snooze, Velocity members can save up to 40% off regular prices store-wide. Save up to 40% off mattresses and bed frames. And for this week only, get triple Velocity points store-wide. Hurry, save on now. What a little Snooze can do.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Welcome back. A mother and daughter recorded brawling over toilet paper at a Woolworths in Western Sydney have been found guilty of a fray. Tracer and Miriam Babay had 8 large packets loaded in their trolley. They started fighting when another customer took one during the height of pandemic panic buying. The pair claimed self-defence, but the magistrate likened their behaviour to football players involved in an on-field brawl. Both were sentenced to good behaviour bonds. The daughter Miriam recorded a conviction. Commentators claim the Duke and Duchess of Sussex now face permanent exile from the royal family following the publication of extracts from a bombshell book. It outlines rifts with other royals and details of their relationship, but the couple denies they helped write it.
4 months post-Megxit, chances of a royal reunion are slim, with details of the couple's departure laid bare, claiming their decision to leave wasn't Meghan's, who was willing to do whatever it takes to make it work. Finding Freedom talks of the growing rift between brothers, which started when Harry and Meghan met. William advised his sibling to take as much time as you need to get to know this girl. Harry found it condescending. He was already in a trance with Meghan. Friends who questioned it due to race or snobbery were immediately cut off. By March this year, the Sussexes and Cambridges were barely speaking. Here, Meghan accuses Kate of ignoring her.
I've spoken to Kate. I've met her many, many times. She's really not a vindictive or aggressive person, so I don't see the character that's been painted of her in this book.
A spokesman for the Sussexes says Harry and Meghan weren't interviewed for the book. They didn't contribute directly, but it was done with their knowledge, the support of their friends, and they haven't denied any of the stories. Due to the extent of details, some have dubbed it the gospel, according to Harry and Meghan.
So let's just hope that the marriage works out, because I think that Harry has burnt a lot of bridges when it comes to the royal family back home.
The full biography is out next month. In London, Sarah Greenolch, 7 News.
China has officially closed the US consulate in the southwest city of Chengdu. The American flag was pulled down, the plaque chiselled off, and the building's signage covered up. Gathering crowds lit firecrackers in the street outside. The closure was in swift retaliation after the US closed China's consulate in Houston, accusing staff there of espionage. A rare tornado swept through the English countryside. Stunned locals recorded the twister churning up debris. Homeowners are reporting thousands of dollars in damage done in little more than 30 seconds. They have a reputation for monkey business, but there are now reports baboons in this English safari park are armed. Visitors claim they've seen them with knives, even one with a chainsaw. The park suspects tourists are giving them weapons for a laugh. They're the videos sparking debate across Australia, but can people refuse to wear a mask? Next, see the latest outbursts. We investigate what their rights are. Plus, a strange kidnapping scheme targeting Chinese students. How this small pen-like device is giving Aussie seniors their sight back. And there's a bear in there, a family shocked as a surprise visitor takes a dip in their pool. That's next.
Captain Strand, we want you to come down to Texas to build an entire station from scratch.
Okay, but I choose the firefighters. This crew can't just be good. Have you got what it takes? They gotta be the best.
This scene is medical, so I run the call. So you do what I say, Captain.
Have you got what it takes to fight, to rule? Rob Lowe. Let's show them what we got. And Liv Tyler.
I think a man should have to earn his cowboy boots.
Get ready for the new action thrill ride, 911 Lone Star. Tonight, 8:30 on 7.
Hi all, Darren here. I'm back with another great value meal option for you. These are my tandoori chicken thighs with baked pilaf. Coming in at under $5 a head, so you can feed a family of 4 for under $20, and all the ingredients from your local supermarket. Okay, first we're gonna make a really simple marinade. I've got some thick yogurt here, about 125 grams, and I've also got some tandoori paste. We're gonna mix these together. We're gonna take one of these chicken thighs, and we're just gonna cut them and place them into the bowl with the marinade, and we're gonna coat all of the chicken, and then we're gonna add some frozen cauliflower. off to the fridge, marinate now for about half an hour. So we're going to start with our baked pilaf. First of all, I've got some coriander here, and I'm just going to pick the leaves off the top because I want to use the stalks in the rice. With these stalks, I'm just going to chop them up finely. Add 500 millilitres of chicken stock to a saucepan. I'm going to add some turmeric powder and 1 bay leaf, and I'm also just going to crush some cardamom pods, and I'll also put those into the pot. Add sliced red onion, and then next I've got an orange. Peel some strips using a potato peeler. Now we're also going to use the juice of the orange. We want to get as much value as possible out of all of our ingredients. Bring that to a boil and then leave it on the side to reserve. And then weigh off 300 grams of basmati rice. I'm going to rinse it under cold water, and then I'm just going to chuck the rice into a baking dish. Next, the reserved stock. I'm going to add all of those bits in there. Next, we're going to add our chopped coriander stalks and also some frozen peas. I'm just going to lay a sheet of baking paper over the top of the rice, and then I'm going to cover in foil and place it in our preheated oven to bake for about 35 minutes. Time to get the chicken into a roasting tray. I've got just spreading the chicken pieces out nice and even. Okay, the rice has been in the oven for about 20 minutes, so now it's time to cook the chicken. Chicken is cooked. Oh wow, it smells incredible. All we need to do now is add some coriander and some extra yogurt. What a feast. This is my tandoori chicken thighs with baked pilaf, and the best part is it's under $5 a head. For more recipes like this, head to coles.com.au and enjoy your cooking.
Welcome back. It's an elaborate ransom scam that has led to millions of dollars being shelled out by unsuspecting family members of Chinese students living here in Australia. Victims of a sophisticated hoax where the students are tied up and blindfolded.
Bound hand and foot, gaffer tape across their mouths. These are the disturbing photos and video recordings of victims forced to stage their own abductions. While the kidnappings may not be real, the extortion is, with twisted scammers pushing their victims to go to extraordinary lengths to create the impression they're being held for ransom.
The scammers are very polished at what they do, and that they progress it over a number of days or weeks to gain the confidence of the person.
It starts with a phone call from overseas, a recorded message demanding small amounts of cash, such as paying a fine. If that's paid, the demands then escalate to larger amounts, and finally, the threat to stage the victim's own kidnapping, forcing their families to pay a ransom. The victims are then forced to do the scammers' dirty work for them, told to check into a hotel and take those disturbing videos and photos, and then switch their phones off so that their family members overseas can't make contact. One family handed over $2 million.
By the time we know about it, it's very difficult to track the call, and it's very difficult to track the money. That's why we've got to focus on prevention.
Police believe there are many other victims too afraid to come forward. Evan Batten, 7 News.
A police officer has escaped serious injury this afternoon after falling off his motorbike in wet conditions on the M2. Other highway patrol officers checked on their colleague after his accident near the Lane Cove on-ramp in Macquarie Park. Paramedics were called but were not needed. Politicians, civil libertarians and legal experts have all dismissed claims that Australians have a right to ignore health-related orders during the pandemic. A woman has tried to do just that, insisting she should be allowed to shop without a face mask.
Heading to Bunnings.
I'm just asking if you've got a mask.
Well, it's clear I don't.
Not for a tin of paint or a new drill.
Were you just after that today?
No, we're going to go and have a wander.
But to test her human rights to not wear a mask.
You're not authorised by the Australian government to even question me.
As I said, it's just a condition of entry.
I don't care. It doesn't apply to me.
I just got great admiration for the staff. They were so cool and so reasonable.
Christened online as Karen, today unmasked as Melbourne woman Kerry Nash. She recorded her Bunnings odyssey.
It's not a crime.
It's a contravention.
It's not a crime.
Tested Australia Post as well.
I do not need a mask.
But at home today wanted nothing to do with cameras.
You are not allowed onto her property.
One more comment about human rights. Honestly, it's about human life.
This Human Rights Commissioner says mask orders in a pandemic don't infringe human rights, they protect the rights of others.
Your right to swing your fist ends with your neighbour's nose.
Do not consent to these draconian laws.
On social media, many cast them as a symbol of government control. If other states mandate masks, they might cause similar anger, even as civil libertarians back the laws in a pandemic.
It's one of the rare kinds of situations where restrictions on fundamental freedoms can be appropriate.
Be they gone.
Tim Lester, 7 News.
For the first time in Australia, an eye surgeon is using a new minimally invasive technique on elderly patients, restoring their sight. He's removing cataracts quickly and safely with remarkable results.
At the Musgrave Hills Bowls Club, they're all keeping an eye on Terry Grounds, one of the first in the country to have revolutionary cataract surgery. And at 75, his vision is now better than 2020.
I can play bowls a lot better now. Yeah, I can see well. I don't know how to play bowls any better, but I can see what mistakes I'm making now.
Gold Coast ophthalmologist Dr Nick Andrew is the only surgeon in the country with one of these.
This new technology, we're not having any ultrasound energy, no laser energy, we're not having sharp instruments inside the eye.
Developed by Carl Zeiss, the MyLoop can be used through a tiny 1.5mm keyhole incision, making surgery less painful and recovery time much faster.
You can take Panadol and that sort of thing after the operation, but I didn't even need that. And 2 days later, look, I could really see well.
It's analogous to cutting a block of cheese, a cheese wheel with a wire. It's very simple.
Cataracts are the #1 cause of preventable blindness, with over 65s most at risk.
It's not something that happens overnight.
Tina Benton underwent the surgery this afternoon with cataracts in both eyes.
I'd just like 20/20 vision.
One of 200,000 Australians set to benefit every year as we see this device rolled out across the country.
It's safe, it's a smooth instrument, so in terms of success rate, very high.
On the Gold Coast, Amanda Abate, 7 News.
When the temperature climbs, nothing's better than a nice cold swim, and that's exactly what this guy was after. He wandered in from the woods on a 36-degree day to commandeer a kid's pool. Owners watched the black bear take a long dip and then have a snooze. He stayed for about an hour until the noise of the grandkids getting home scared him off. A Western Sydney highway officer has launched a new initiative to help families in need. Next, the remarkable story behind his car seat campaign and how it's saving lives. Also honouring those who served in the Korean War 67 years on. Deadly pyjamas, the warning for parents over a highly flammable children's nightie.
Soon in sport, Latrell's back just in time for Indigenous round and the Bunnies can't wait.
We've seen the last of the drenching rain. The weather is gradually clearing. See you soon.
This is a very difficult thing for me to judge. It was extraordinary.
You moved me.
And that's just the start.
Let's do it.
Gave me goosebumps.
America's Got Talent on the new night, Tuesday, 7:30 on 7.
I laugh, I sneeze, there goes my sensitive bladder. Sound familiar? Then you'll love this. Incredible protection in a pad this thin. I didn't think it'd work, but it does. It's called Always Discreet. It has a super absorbent core that turns liquid and odour to gel and locks it away. So I know I'm wearing it, but no one else will. Always Discreet for sensitive bladder.
We're so lucky in Australia because we've got so many fantastic food choices and it's fresh and it's delicious. You know, we try and recreate that in the store every day. The producers come to us because they've heard our reputation is one that supports quality, independent products. Grace is the quintessential diminutive Italian woman who lives in the Perth Hills, and it took 4 attempts to let us sell her pasta sauce in the store because it's such a great sauce, and there are customers who just are completely in love with it.
And people want truth with their food. They want truth and they want the story behind it. We can do that. And we want to see everyone flourish. You know, if everyone flourishes, we're all doing well.
So do I pay tax on JobKeeper?
I'm working from home.
What can I claim?
We've all got tax questions this year. Thankfully, at H&R Block, we have the answers.
Let's get you started.
Maximise your tax refund. Book an appointment today.
From home time to sleepy time, IKEA designs around life's precious moments. So make mess, mohawks, and laugh until your belly hurts. Because with IKEA, there really is no place like home.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
More is possible when you control the road ahead. The BMW X3S Drive 20i. From $199 per week at 4.99% per annum. Business customers only. Search BMW X3.
Be prepared to rediscover New South Wales. 7 News can help you on your way with a chance to win one of 4 $5,000 holiday vouchers to live out your dream escape. Enter at 7news.com.au/holiday with tonight's code word, enjoy. And be watching 7 News tomorrow night for another chance to win.
Checking the markets now, and it was a slow start to the new week, but the ASX 200 managed to lift slightly, up 20 points. Gold hit record highs today, while some of our aged care providers saw major dips. And our dollar is buying 71.28 US cents. The consumer watchdog has released terrifying vision of a children's nightgown catching alight. The Monster High Girls nightie has previously been recalled for posing a serious risk to children, but is now being sold online. Parents are being urged to check the label, which comes with a high fire danger warning. Today marks 67 years since the Korean War armistice, when fighting officially ended and 17,000 Australians who fought are remembered. Despite the rain, there was a small service held today at the Korean War Memorial in Centennial Park. 297 Australians were killed during the conflict, with 43 missing in action. Our police are often accused of revenue raising when it comes to handing out traffic fines, but one highway patrol officer in Mount Druitt got tired of pulling over new parents with the wrong kind of child seat. So instead of fining them, he decided to help them, and it's saving lives.
For new parents, wrangling the kids into a car seat is a mighty task. And for those struggling to afford a proper seat in the first place, there's the added risk of a fine.
And these were new mums, sometimes very young mums, who were having their first child, and they're a little bit unsure about how to restrain their child.
Now, instead of dishing out the fines, Highway Patrol Sergeant Greg Donaldson has shown a softer side, organising donations instead.
We used this network of healthcare workers to identify the families that really needed our help.
He called on Blacktown City Council and Aboriginal Health Services to not only give parents seats, but teach them how to use them.
Now that I know how to install a car seat, I feel so much more better and that she's safer, more secured.
Not having a child restrained properly can lead to dire consequences. On New South Wales roads, 66 children under the age of 13 died from the 10 years to 2016. Lives that could have been saved if they were correctly strapped in.
What we'd really like to do is to educate the public to drive safely, to put their kids in a child restraint so that they're safe. And if we gave out no tickets, I'd be even happier.
Samantha Brett, 7 News.
They're the rooftop raids you weren't supposed to see, but now 7 News has obtained video of elite officers cracking down on criminals. Tensions rising in our prisons. See the dramatic showdown. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But now Mel is here with Sport. And Mel, the NRL has denied it's playing favourites.
Fergo Commission Chairman Peter V'landys says the Roosters aren't getting special treatment on the subject of Sonny Bill. We'll hear from him next. Plus, a wrap of the final day of the Premier League season. Who survived, who didn't? And the two legends building something special at their old clubs. And the great Steve Ward takes us up close and personal on his journey through India from behind his camera lens.
It's come down to this play. Struck it well, struck it well. Hit it hard.
It's the history-making event.
What a giant kick.
And it starts with 4 big nights in a row. Wednesday, 2 powerhouses clash. Thursday, Demons versus Power.
leading to a massive Friday and Saturday doubleheader starting Wednesday. Go to the footy on 7, mate.
Tired of cleansers that leave skin dull? The power of micellar with the glow of rosewater. New Garnier Micellar Rosewater Cleanser. Micelles lift dirt like a magnet. In one swipe removes makeup and reveals the glow. New Micellar Rosewater by Garnier. Naturally.
So we've got like car payments, rent.
You losers budgeting again?
We got finance if we want to.
We can leave our friends behind.
Get on top of your money with ANZ's Financial Wellbeing Check-In.
Not till after dinner. Oh, did he? Right, yeah. All right, just fine.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Hey, I've been held up.
Where are you?
Why?
You sound different.
Do I?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, please do.
What did you buy? Yeah. Me too.
The new T-Rock and T-Cross. You'll just want one. Volkswagen.
Jess, I love your take on those metrics. Now, Greg, let's talk optics. Is that a pie chart? Because that's a sexy pie chart.
Grab a tasty power lunch at 7-Eleven.
This is it, Ray, the company Barbie. Jane will give you that promotion if you give her this perfectly cooked steak.
Don't be too quick on the draw, mate.
You've got this, Ray. Use your barbecues galore skills.
I'm ready.
Now get over there, hombre, and become the Deputy Vice Assistant Regional Manager you were born to be!
I'm vegan.
Oh, it's okay, Ray. More epic steak for you. Legend! Barbecues galore. Now you're cooking.
Supercheap Auto's mid-year sale catalogue is out now. Get 50% off these Castrol engine oils and a 720 PHD dashcam, $44.99. Shop now with contact-free click and collect.
Welcome back. Commission Chairman Peter V'landys is set to change contracting rules to help the Roosters sign Sonny Bill Williams. But he insists he's not playing favourites and would do the same for any club. V'landys says the Commission needs flexibility to act in the best interests of the game.
At the launch of Indigenous Round,
racism is still prevalent in our society, like it or not, and we need to eradicate that racism.
Commission Chairman Peter V'landys defended the code's integrity over claims they may be favouring the Roosters by changing contracting rules to help lure Sonny Bill Williams back to the NRL.
We do not show fear or favouritism. You know, just because it's the Roosters shouldn't be penalised.
While Sonny Bill prepares to head down under, V'landys is also ready to bend the rules to prevent losing 16-year-old South sensation Joseph Sawali to rugby union. Current rules don't allow players to debut until they turn 18.
We will look at anything that's the benefit of the game. That's what the Commission's there for, is to look at the benefit of the game, promotion of the game, what's the best outcomes.
The injury-hit Bunnies welcome back Latrell Mitchell from suspension for Thursday's game against the Dragons. Cody Walker's uncle designed their Indigenous jersey.
He's just outdone himself with his artwork. Just blows my mind.
Night star Connor Watson hobbled into work this morning, unable to try on the boots painted by kids from underprivileged backgrounds.
Yeah, it's pretty tough pill to swallow, but unfortunately that's footy, these things happen.
Connor won't be wearing them, but these are pretty special to Caelan.
So we have on the side here the bumblebee, so that's for his younger brother that passed away when he was quite young. He's always carry around a bumblebee too.
Watson and first choice hooker Andrew McCulloch both suffered season-ending injuries in the loss to the Bulldogs. Michelle Bishop, 7 News.
A record 352 days after it began, the Premier League season has finished with a flurry of late drama. Manchester United and Chelsea qualified for the Champions League, while Aston Villa stayed up by the skin of their teeth.
After a 1-1 draw with West Ham, Villa players gathered around a radio to hear if they'd done enough to avoid the drop.
And the news is the news they wanted to hear. Villa have done it.
That's the emotional side of what staying up means. But in dollars, $300 million plus. An incredibly tense final day where Bournemouth did their part, but in vain, while Watford gave Arsenal an almighty scare but lost 3-2 to see both relegated alongside Norwich. Villa surviving by a solitary point.
Their place in the Champions League.
United's 2-0 win over Leicester broke the hearts of the Foxes, who'd been in the top four for most of the season. Chelsea made no mistake against Wolves, winning 2-0.
It's an absolute beauty. What a free kick from Mason Mount.
So, two legends, United's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Chelsea's Frank Lampard, are now set to lead their teams into Europe. Well, they've already clinched a record fourth A-League Premier's plate, but Sydney FC insist they're not about to take their foot off the pedal. The defending champions are now eyeing the Premier's plate grand final double.
We've sort of ticked this goal off now, and now the next thing is winning that grand final, and the concentration's definitely there. Everyone wants to do well.
The Sky Blues play third place Melbourne City at ANZ Stadium on Saturday night. Jack Miller was one of 8 riders to crash out of a chaotic Andalusia MotoGP in Spain. The Aussie star slid off the track with 15 laps to go, but his tumble was tame compared to what happened to South Africa's Brad Binder.
Oh, vicious stuff. Oh, dearie me, what an eventful day for...
Fabio Quartararo won his second straight race. 41-year-old legend Valentino Rossi was third. And finally, an Aussie cricket legend like we've never seen him before. This is Steve Waugh before COVID-19, combining two of his great passions, photography and India. The Test legend has loved the subcontinent since his first trip there with the Australian team back in 1986. A book of Waugh's favourite Indian photos is out in November. It's going to be spectacular. He keeps himself out of the limelight a lot, Steve Waugh. We know he loves India. I think it's going to be really beautiful, and he can actually get out amongst the people, which he wouldn't have done in his playing days.
Great captain. He's doing some great charity work at the moment.
Very much.
Good on you, Mel. Thank you. 7 News has been given exclusive access to a select team of elite officers assembled to crack down on increasingly tense standoffs. They're working inside our state's prisons, specialising in roof extractions, and they invited our cameras inside.
Hold there! This is not a drill.
CP, this is Metro 10. There are 3 inmates on their stomach on the roof. We are apprehending the first inmate. He is crawling to the team.
This is prison life.
Okay, where can they come at us from? Which cavity?
The vision was captured on an officer's body-worn camera at the Shortland Correctional Centre in the Hunter Valley. Inmates refused to muster and climbed on the roof, a pattern of behaviour that's on the rise. No face-to-face visits during COVID-19, meaning less contraband inside.
What we've seen is, particularly with the reduction of the amount of drugs in prisons, there's been a number of disturbances.
Getting them down is dangerous for both parties. That's why this team's been assembled to deal with it.
They are the elite of the elite. They're using world's best practice.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
This group is so well trained and so elite that it takes them about a minute to climb a wall of roughly 8 metres and apprehend the inmates.
They've trained hard, they're ready for it, and anything that happens for them, we've exposed to them as much as possible.
There are currently 74 highly trained extraction officers at the ready to be deployed across the state. Another 15 are being trained and will join the team shortly. Peter Fegan, 7 News.
David is back now with the latest forecast. Brownie, have we seen the last of the heavy rain?
Oh, it's long gone, Fergo. Just a little rain tonight, and of course I'll have your local forecast straight after the break.
Tonight, on the latest from 7 News, the COVID crisis worsens. Dozens of aged care homes hit. The families of patients join me tonight. Their message for officials. And we're tracking the wild weather event hitting our east coast live to the impact zones. We will keep you across every development tonight on the latest from 7 News at 10:30.
2 brothers, 1 girl.
I should stay around more often.
Fine by me.
Oh.
This is not going to end well.
I'm attracted to Tane.
You sure it hasn't got something to do with the muscles?
Here we go.
It's about to get a whole lot worse.
Coming back?
Busted.
Home and Away, next up on 7.
Mika is a perfectionist when it comes to sculpting hedges. Just don't ask her for a short back and sides.
That's terrible.
It's amazing what you can't do. Task smarter.
Airtasker.
6 Aussie burger meals, thanks.
That'll be $29.90.
Do you have change for 10 million?
You could take away Ozlotto's huge $10 million jackpot. Will your numbers bring you a truckload of cash this Tuesday?
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
It's time to come into the cold with the Kathmandu Winter Sale. Now up to 50% off. Stay warm and embrace the great outdoors we've all been missing. Explore great deals across the range at Kathmandu.
You'll fall in love with YouFood's ever-changing menu of chef-inspired meals, snacks and drinks, packed full of locally sourced Aussie farm fresh ingredients, delivered safely to your door 7 days a week. It's healthy eating made easy.
Emotions shape you and make you unique, just like your face. Discover new Nivea Q10 Power for mature skin with 100% skin-identical Q10 to visibly reduce wrinkles and organic argan oil to deeply nourish and replenish your skin. New Nivea Q10 Power for mature skin. 100% skin-identical, 100% you.
Why join Bupa? Because you'll get 6 weeks free on eligible products. That's 6 weeks free, because right now every saving counts. Bupa, because life happens. T's and C's apply. Call now to find out more.
Whatever plans you had for your future, they're still waiting for you. Because if you're with Host Plus, you're with one of Australia's top performing super funds over the long term, with some of the lowest admin fees. Host Plus, we go with you.
You'll fall in love with YouFood's ever-changing menu of chef-inspired meals, snacks and drinks, packed full of locally sourced Aussie farm fresh ingredients, delivered safely to your door 7 days a week. It's healthy eating made easy.
A lot of people have sensitive teeth, but gum health is really important as well. If you've got sensitive teeth, you should be looking for something to help with the sensitivity, but you should also be thinking about, do I need to look after my gums? Using the new Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum toothpaste not only deals with sensitivity, it also maintains gum health when used twice a day, every day. I think it's fantastic to have a dual action toothpaste. 2 benefits with the one toothpaste. What a great idea.
More is possible when you control the road ahead. The BMW X3S Drive 20i from $199 per week at 4.99% per annum. Business customers only. Search BMW X3.
It beat life-threatening cancer almost overnight. The $500,000 treatment now available in Australia. Free. 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Tonight's 7 News headlines: Black Lives Matter protesters are vowing to march tomorrow despite being blocked again in the Supreme Court. Victoria has marked a grim record with 532 new coronavirus cases and more deaths as the aged care crisis worsens. A woman has been left with serious head injuries after 2 buses collided on Anzac Parade. And gone with a wind star, Olivia de Havilland has died at the age of 104. Now, the latest on Sydney's weather, here's David.
Thanks very much, Fergo. Well, some passing showers today following some soaking overnight rain. Gales clipped exposed parts of the coast as big waves pounded our beaches, and a wave rider boy just off the Batemans Bay coast reported a maximum wave height of 12 metres just a short time ago. Imagine that. Well, back home, less than 2 degrees separated the overnight low and maximum of 16.1 by late morning. It's the same story as we go into the metro area, mid to high teens at best. Now, we had 50 to 100 millimetres reported in the suburbs and beyond in the 24 hours to 9 a.m, but you'll notice there was a lot more reported around the central coast. Now, the low behind the wet weather is now sitting right here. It's off the Illawarra coast. The main feeder band is streaming right through here over the southern coast, wrapping around to the north and running along the central ranges. Now, I must say the storm has peaked, although minor flooding is expected on the southern rivers tonight and tomorrow. But you'll notice the low is expected to drift further out to sea tomorrow, taking most of the rain with it. But having said that, gales and big seas will continue over the southern half of our coast. But by Wednesday, There's our forecast as we travel through time. Below, well, it's long gone. If you look closely, you can see we're expecting fine sunny conditions with virtually no wind at all by Wednesday. Nationwide tomorrow, more sunshine in Brisbane and a forecast top of around 22 degrees. For Melbourne, it's cloudy, although dry, and a maximum of 15. You'll notice that gale warning covers our southern coastal waters tomorrow. We'll see rain in the south, gradually easing to showers by around about late morning, early afternoon, to scattered showers in the eastern corridor elsewhere, but are generally dry conditions. In fact, lots of sunshine expected up to the north. Closer in, a return to fine weather is we're expecting to unfold tomorrow during the afternoon. Winds easing as well. They're out of the south. They will eventually moderate, and temperatures, most centres reaching around 18 degrees. To the coast, as we have a look at the forecast, winds moderating overnight, but strong southerlies should linger for most of tomorrow, so rough seas to continue. For the city, wet overnight, just a few clearing showers tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be fine by mid-afternoon. Forecast top 17 degrees. Let's move on to that 7-day outlook. A return to sunny weather on Wednesday and no wind at all. Can you believe it? And the sunny conditions will continue. In fact, it'll see in the first weekend of August. Yes, time is flying. So the weather is gradually improving. Mel and Fergo.
Be nice to see some blue sky again.
Indeed.
Thank you, Brownie. That is 7 News for this Monday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.